The first step in the configuration process is setting up the inventory. Whether you use metric or imperial materials, about 350 commonly used materials with information are already included. You'll be able to modify existing materials as well as add new ones. Initially, you'll want to focus on the Plywood tab, Lumber tab, and Fastener tab, as these are the primary items used in almost all crate designs. The other tabs' materials can be completed as needed, or as you will use them. Once the inventory is cleaned up, you can import your cost via a CSV file if you find that easier. Starting with plywood, the list shows materials in this category. Below this list is a Show Inactive button that allows you to view all plywood items in inventory. Once you clean up these materials, you would unselect this option to see only materials you use. To clean up this material category, at the top of the window is a View field. Select the Design Fields list. This will bring up all of the items that are currently in this category. If checked, it's an active material. If unchecked, it gets moved to the Inactive tab. An active material is what you use to build your crates, skids, and pallets, or sell directly from inventory, not your on-hand inventory. Materials included will contain extra information, such as a waste factor and cut, install, or apply time. The values come from averages in North America. These will need to be changed to match your company's settings. Click on any pencil icon to return to the form view. Uncheck the Show Inactive button to see only your active materials. To add a new material, you can click on New in the upper left of the window. You're able to rename any existing material by clicking on Item ID, but I'm going to add 3/4 OSB. A part number can be entered here. If you're unsure of the values to enter in each field, you could look at a similar item. In this case, I have 3/4 CDX to use as a reference. While most sheets are purchased as 48 by 96 or 1200 by 2400 millimeters, you will enter the dimensions based on the size you purchase. If you know your waste factor for this material, enter it here. If you're not sure, again, look at something that is similar and take those values for now. Same with cut or install time. You can change these later. In another lesson, we'll cover the placeholder field. Please uncheck it for now if selected on any active material. Pricing when applied to designs. The unit of measure in this field comes from the Level A unit of measure below. The Level A unit of measure is the unit of measure used on the cut list for all materials. I suggest not changing the default unit of measure in Level A for any material. You'll understand why as you configure more material groups. However, you may not purchase your plywood by square foot or square meter. The unit of measure you purchase your items are set in the tracking level. By default, the common setting for plywood is by sheet, which is Level B. While you may purchase plywood by other units of measure, such as by pallet, unless you always get the same number of sheets when you order, you'll end up doing a lot more conversions every time you purchase another lot of the material. Let us know if you want to use a different unit of measure than what's in Level A or B so we can ensure your values are correctly set up. When you select a tracking level, the cost per and weight per field will reflect the unit of measure of that tracking level. Let's move to the Lumber tab to cover additional settings and fields available for lumber material. Your first step is to go to the top of the window and select Design Fields list. You have to click on that option to select it. Once you have the list view, check materials as active that you use and uncheck materials that you don't use. Click on the pencil icon or edit icon to return to form view, and remember to uncheck the Show Inactive box at the bottom of your lumber list if checked. The lumber category has additional fields unique to lumber, but many fields are common among all categories. Highlighted here are those unique fields. If you might use Crate Pro to create ISBN 15 reports, check all lumber materials that are eradicated. If a material can be used as a cleat, check the cleat box. For example, you would use 1x4s as a cleat material, but it's unlikely you would use a 4x4. This ensures that if a user swaps out a default cleating material in the design, they don't select a material that should not be used in that capacity. Match design component length. In lumber, This feature allows you to enter the board links that you usually have in stock and enter them in the level C, D, E, and F rows. You can change what's currently in those fields. When you check the box next to the row, Crate Pro 6 will identify when that length is required in a design and not at the time for a saw stop. Be sure to uncheck the boxes if you do not carry lumber in those lengths. Available on projects is an option in every material tab. This is not the same as making a material active for use in a design. When a line item is checked under Available on projects, it means this item can be added directly from your inventory in the unit of measure checked to a project. In this example, I have marked that I sell 1x4x8s and 1x4x12s directly into a project. The selling markup and selling price are shown. If the markup field is grayed, the markup value is coming from the Preferences Pricing module, which is your company default markup for this material category. In some cases, you may opt to override this markup and enter a unique markup just for this material. When you override your Preferences markup, the text is standard. Switching to the Preferences module, Pricing tab, here you will set your company defaults for markups and other values. The first column is markups of materials added in the Design module, and the second column is for materials sold directly from the Inventory module. As you saw, you can override these values for individual materials in the Inventory module. We'll cover setting your pricing settings in another training. Once you clean up each tab, it's fast and easy to enter and update your costs. This time, go to the bottom of the window and click Active and the category you're going to enter costs. Then the magnifying glass. Let's do plywood. In the list, you'll only see your active materials. If you selected level B as your tracking level, then enter your cost by board foot or cubic foot. If you selected level A, enter your cost by square foot or square meter. At any time, you can update your cost this way. Please select the next video for fasteners.